What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces with Tony. I'm Tony. Today I'm wearing my Rolex GMT Master 2 Batgirl. Anyway, so today's episode, I was really excited because I had a special guest a few weeks ago and the video didn't turn out because the audio didn't work. So we finally got our schedules together and we finally did this. So I want to say, in conversation with Lincoln Parish. And Lincoln is just probably one of he's such a cool dude, man. And he's not only, just a cool dude, but he's a very well-known musician, lives in Nashville, had multiple hit singles, multi-platinum selling artist and Grammy nominee. And we have a lot in common. And so this episode is going to be a lot of, there's going to be music talk and there's going to be watch talk. And then when I went to Nashville and how we got dialed in with Fink's Jewelers and how he ended up getting his dream Rolex, multiple Rolex. And so I hope you guys can watch the whole thing. I know it's a little long, but I hope you dig it. And I'm not going to roll the intro. We're just going to get right into it. All right. So, all right. Thanks. All right, everyone. This is Talking Timepieces with Tony, and I'm here with my special guest, Lincoln Parish. Lincoln, say hello.
Dude, how's it going?
It's going, dude. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, as you know.
I know.
Um, and so and it's always good to talk to you, man. It's
Likewise.
it's kind of rare, from coming from the entertainment industry on both ends, whether it's music on either one of our sides, or whether it be a YouTube channel or whatever, to sort of make friends with someone who's a genuine friend. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of times when I've met people, I always keep them at a distance. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's just like you're like the brother I never had. You know what I mean?
I know. Sometimes I feel like I text you more than my own family.
That's awesome. So let's do this. Since this is round two, because a lot of you guys know I had we were doing the special guest with Lincoln, and there was an audio problem, and I couldn't use the video. So we'll start again. This is round two, and it was a few weeks ago that we initially did this, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like how many guitarists does it take to change a light bulb, And
One to do it, and 12 to sit around and say they could do it better.
yeah, and we failed miserably the first time somehow.
Yeah,
You would
exactly, man.
you would
So
think a guy that like records music and works in Pro Tools every day would not fuck that up, but here we are.
yeah, and that's the beauty with the technology. That's why I never use my recording studio anymore. But and I'll get into that too. But so why don't you let the people know who you are, what bands you've worked with, and all that good stuff.
Okay. Lincoln Parish. I was originally in a band called Cage the Elephant for about 10 years. Did 3 albums with them, the first three. And then for the last 11, 12 years, I've been producing, writing, mixing, developing other artists, a lot of up and coming artists that, probably nobody's heard of, but also have worked with some great people like Lily Hyatt, which is John Hyatt's daughter. And yeah, been really, did a record with Kyle Cook from Matchbox 20.
Awesome.
So yeah, I gotten to work with a lot of my heroes
It,
along the way. And
that's awesome, man. I know that you did. The funny thing is I had no when you first started commenting on my YouTube videos. Of course, I didn't had no clue who you were and or what band you played in, and of course I knew the songs because I listened to the radio, and
yeah,
ain't no rest for the wicked, ain't no rest for the wicked, money don't grow on trees, and you wrote that when you were like 17, right?
yeah, like 16.
16, right? So it's amazing how that works. And then what I think we started following each other on Instagram, and
Yep.
I know that.
Yeah, and then you posted that video.
Yeah, of playing. I was playing one of my old songs that I'd written a long time ago, quite some time ago. And you were like, "Let's come out to Nashville and record this." The funny thing is, I still didn't know what band you played in because generally, if someone's a producer or a musician or whatever, I don't do a deep dive. Well, who is this? You know what I mean? Because when you're in the business, you don't really care who's. When you've worked with so many people,
Yeah,
you just kind of
that
go ahead.
Yeah, that and I feel like everybody's a producer now. You know.
Yeah. Well, anyone can get a
Uh,
laptop with Pro Tools now, right? And
yeah,
so,
for sure.
but in this case, I had posted about 30 or 40 seconds of a song I'd written, and you said, "Hey, man, that's you." Reminded you of everything that you liked from the '90s, I think.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
come out to Nashville and record this, and I was like, you know, normally I would have been like, I've been in the business for a long time as well. I was kind of done in a sense that I was like, and I thought, you know what, man, this would be freaking cool to do it, man. You know what I mean? And not just to record that song, but to work with you and hang out and do what we did. And so, it's amazing how things work in a weird way, right? Like that. So, of course, I came out to Nashville in October. And dude, for a lot of you people that don't know, when you're dealing with people like at, a higher level with whether music industry or whatever, Lincoln is the most down to earth freaking guy I know as far as in the music industry and whatever, and we hit it off, right? And we had a blast doing it. And it just turns out that we both had a lot of things in common. Like we both played the K-Rock Weenie Roast, which we mentioned in that video we did a few months ago. So if you guys haven't seen the video that Lincoln and I did part 1 and part 2 in October when I was in Nashville, we mentioned the K-Rock Weenie Roast. A lot of people don't know what that is, and a lot of people don't know what K-Rock is. So it's not like playing at a barbecue, right? It's
yeah.
it's 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 a
The Irvine Amphitheater.
Irvine Meadows, man, and it's
Yeah.
massive. I mean, we played in 2008 with Metallica, The Offspring, Rack on Tours, um, MGMT, I think, was a band at that time. And I
Yep.
can't remember what year you played, but uh,
I think it was. Yeah, it was like either the year before or like, because they alternate the lineup.
yeah,
Like if you play it one year, you can't play it the next year.
right,
Uh, so I think we had played it. I think we played it in like '07. I think we didn't play it in '08, and then we played it in '09, and
yeah.
then like again in like 11, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, and it's a big festival. It's a big thing. I mean, it usually sells out. I mean, I know the year I played it sold out within 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's usually
And
like as soon as it goes on sale the year before it's sold out.
yeah, and for those of you who don't know K-Rock is probably the biggest and most influential rock radio station. And I use that term loosely in a sense now, but they were probably one of the biggest radio stations in the United States, right?
Yeah, and they're a huge like tastemaker for you know rock music. So
Right,
if you get played on K Rock, you're probably more than likely going to start getting played on other
right,
stations across the country. Um,
right. And I was doing music for the Kevin and Bean Morning Show, which I'm sure you're
y-
very familiar with, and
yep,
Psycho Mike, who
yep,
was on, that's who I was working with a lot, and that's why I was doing a lot of the music on the Kevin and Bean Morning Show was me playing, and the parody songs there was a song by the Plain White T's called "Hey There Delilah," and we did a
yep.
version of it called "Hey There Vagina," and it became the number one most requested song on K Rock, and the FCC
No way.
banned it. So because the FCC banned it and K Rock couldn't play it anymore, it blew us up. It blew that song up so freaking huge. It was crazy. It was fun. There were good
You got
times, and
you got to send me a copy of that sometime.
I don't even have a copy of it, but I know there was a video on YouTube at the K Rock Winnie Roast when we performed it, but there is a video on YouTube when I played the Viper Room and I had Mike come down as a special guest and we played it there, and that was real fun. That's still up on YouTube as far as I know, but
Okay.
we recorded several different versions. We did "Hey There Vagina," we did "North Carolina," "Great Wall of China," and so then Kevin and B did a whole skit on, well, this is the new album, but every song sounds the same, and it was just like this
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing, and it kind of blew up, and next thing you know, we're playing the K Rock Winnie Roast, right? And it was a lot of fun, man. So but when you're doing music and things like that, you get so busy, and in your case, you sold multi platinum records, right? And nominated for a Grammy. I was nominated for a Grammy in Hawaii called the Nahuku Hano Hano Awards for Rock Album of the Year. That was my solo stuff. Um, and in my case, your case, you're still doing it. We recorded my song, and it turned out killer. By the way, I mean, if I'm proud of anything I've ever done, because I hate everything I do. I always have. I can never listen to my own music,
Same.
right? And it's like this is the first thing that I've done that I really actually like and go, man, this is freaking good. So if you guys out there haven't heard the single, "Don't Blame Yourself," check it out. It's actually it turned out really good. It was an acoustic song, and then you were like, I went out to have a cigarette, and all of a sudden I start hearing heavy guitars on it. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, man? And then you added the heavy rhythm guitars. I mean, I played all the acoustic guitars, and of course sang. You did the heavy guitars. I played the guitar solo that you flipped in reverse, and you produced it and did everything. And you kill your job, dude. And it was so much fun. I have not had that much fun in the studio. It's just I hadn't been in the studio in so long, and I hadn't played guitar in so long. My fingers were like, I mean,
Yeah, I remember you were like, dude, give me a break. And I was like, one more take, one more take.
I can't do this, man. And then singing it, plus we were drinking a lot too. And so when it came to the last day when I was doing vocals, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to sing this. When you wake up in the morning and you're really like, and I'm like, but it turned out. So, and by the time we did the last vocals on it, I lost my voice. By the time I got back to LA, I couldn't talk. It was crazy. So there you have it. So a lot of people, because I get a lot of questions on my YouTube channel. Who have you ever played for? Who have you played for? What band were you in? And I hate talking about it because a lot of the bands that I worked with, and I've worked with legendary musicians, man. I told you who I've played with and worked with.
Oh yeah.
But when you don't really either like someone or get along with and it's so far in your past that you just don't want to talk about it anymore, I'd
Yeah.
rather go, well, that's not what I am. It's what I've done now. And I walked away from my record deal. As far as I know, I still have a deal, but I
Yeah.
haven't done it. I pretty much walked. I'm so sick of the industry, And a lot of it
Yeah.
has to do with not getting paid for money that's owed to you.
Well, yeah, and I think every musician's dealt with that. I mean, I still deal with that to this day. I mean,
Yeah.
luckily it's fewer and farther between because your bullshit barometer I think goes up, and then
It goes way up. Yeah. You
you
just
know,
know.
yeah, you can just sense it before it really happens. But yeah, it's just. Back to your song, like I just even after when you got here and kind of was telling me like what the story of what it was about and like your friend and everything,
Yeah.
like I just really loved like the sentiment of the song, and
Thanks, man.
thought it could have been like, and still is, it's a really powerful message, and I think we
Thanks.
kind of added some backbone to it that
We did.
just made it even more powerful.
And you know what? I'll tell you this, for a lot of people that don't know, it's called Don't Blame Yourself, and it's about suicide. But in a positive way, that it's meaning don't blame yourself for the shit that's going wrong in your head. And I'm going to tell you, the chick I wrote it about was a girl I was dating who was famous, and I'm not going to mention the name, but she was known, yeah. And she's in a bad way, you know what I mean? And so it's about like saying don't blame yourself, because a lot of people have mental issues, and it's not their fault. Some people think that the reason why people have mental issues is because they're just jacked up, when it's not that case. And it's about trying to be positive and saying look what you have and look what you can do. And I did a version of that previous a few years ago, and I donated 100% of everything to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So,
That's
but
awesome.
it's like, but that's what that was about. But it turns out that it's just actually, I don't really ever say, man, I write great songs, but it was one of those songs that was just really hooky, has a good chorus. And you added that one chord towards the end of it from where I go to E minor, and you changed it to G major, which E minor is the relative minor of G major. So anyway, a lot of you
It's all
guys,
on the same scale.
yeah, it's all the same shit, right? So every major scale has a minor scale. It's called a relative minor. Anyway, what watch? Let's go to watches now. That's what this channel's about, right? So, what are you wearing today?
Uh, Day
Oh,
date
dude,
40.
awesome.
Or is that your Batman? It's
Yeah,
hard to
Batgirl,
tell. Oh, Batgirl. Sorry.
GMT. Yeah.
I couldn't tell if that was that or your sub.
No, GMT.
Nice.
So all that
I've been.
aside, Oh, go ahead.
I've been meaning to get. I have because I've been having all this work done on my house.
Uh-huh.
I so I have like half of mine in the bank right now, and like
Yeah.
the Pepsi's always kind of been like my summer watch because it just wears so nice. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
light. It's like comfortable. But
Right.
yeah, I've been meaning to get over to the bank and swap that one out with something else that I'm
Yeah.
wearing. But yeah, I usually love rocking the day date on the weekends. It's a good weekend watch.
I loved wearing your Pepsi when I was out there. We swapped watches for a few hours, right? And that was
Yeah, I think I think we almost did for like a whole day, and then I kind of forgot about it. I had your pilot on, and yep,
yeah.
and then we were working, and yeah, that's still on my list
Yeah. So
amongst other things.
one of the cool things about Nashville, and keep in mind, I hadn't traveled in a long time, so I have travel anxiety. I've traveled so much, and you obviously know what it's like to travel a lot. And through me being when I was younger, I did it so much. I felt like I was on a plane or in a different city to the point where you don't
You
even know
don't
what
even
city you're
know.
in.
Yeah,
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to Nashville. I'm really doing this. And I hadn't been to Nashville in many years. And one of the things was not just to record the song, but it was to go to the ADs, right? The Rolex ADs, just the ADs. And we had gone to that diamond, whatever,
place.
and you'd given me before we walked in there. You just said, "Hey, I want you to just tell me if you think my AD's messing with me because I've been wanting to get the day date right." And he was kind of blowing you off, right? And
Yeah, I felt like I wasn't really being heard.
well,
Um,
you know, and that was like, and then we
and
walked out,
there
and I was,
and there was some other watches that I were, I mean, a day date's one thing, but even like an OP-41 silver, a no date sub,
right,
those were like the three that were on my list, at the
right,
time. But I'd also, had pretty large purchase history there with not even just watches, but jewelry and other things.
yeah,
Um,
and
so,
when we left, I remember you bought a watch winder. And the dude didn't even give you a discount on a watch winder. Now he's not obligated to do it, but I was just kind of like, man, with the amount of money you've spent, I know how much money you've spent. I feel the same way with how much I've spent at my AD. And it's like, throw me a bone a little bit here, So when we walked out, I was like,
yeah,
you're right, dude. I didn't get a good vibe from it at all, right? So whatever. That being said, we did whatever I can't remember where else we went after that for a minute, but we went. I know it was. I don't know if it was the same day we went to King Jewelers.
yeah, I think we hit Kings right after that, and
No,
then
because I was wearing my Batgirl when we went to the Diamond
oh no,
Place. Oh,
you're right. After we left the Diamond Place, we went back to record
oh, okay.
right after
Huh.
that, and then the next day is when we went. We did Kings,
Yeah,
and then I remember being like, oh, there's this. Well, we were both hungry and hadn't eaten,
yeah,
so I was like, do you want to go to Shake Shack, which is this burger place, down in
right.
Franklin? And I was like, I think there's this new jeweler down there that I know they're AD in other cities, but I don't know if they're an AD in Nashville yet. So we just decided to pop down there and grab lunch, and then we're like, we'll just walk in and see.
Yeah,
And
and and it just turned out that we went to Shake Shack, but Shake Shack is actually connected to Fink's,
yeah,
and they've only
yeah,
opened for 5 days, right? And
yeah. I think they had opened like this was like Sunday, and I think they had just opened like the previous Tuesday or Wednesday or something.
yeah, so we walked into Fink's, and for those of you guys who don't know Fink's, Fink's is a big AD. They've got about 12 locations throughout the Midwest and the South.
Yeah, like
Um,
southeast sort of.
yeah, and it's a beautiful store. We walked in, and of course, I mean, I walked in with that sort of, all right, we're at another AD, but you're the one who was looking for what you're looking for. And it turns out, well, one of my viewers happened to come up to me, and then Jeanette, the manager, we all started talking, and you were talking to Mikey about what you wanted, right?
Yep.
And and I think when we both walked out of there, we were like, dude, that's the AD, that's the AD.
Yeah.
Forget the other place, forget the other place. And you were, I think, a little hesitant about wanting to get rid of your other AD for a minute, just in case, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you just never know how those things are going to play out, right? It's like,
Right.
but it just felt a lot more honest and like, I felt like I was being, not having smoke blown up my ass. It was like,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll try to work with you and like, we'll try to make your goals happen, sort of thing, with Finks and not to just completely shit on the other place. It just felt more personable.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Um, which is
And
what you want, man. If you're gonna spend that much money, like like
yeah.
these things aren't cheap, and like I don't care how much money you have, it's still not cheap.
Exactly.
So it's
And
nice to be like treated like a human being and not like you're getting a
yeah.
carrot dangled in front of your face and you're a rabbit.
Yeah. I know. I'm feeling that way right now. But that's a different video. So we walked out of there like, for sure this is gonna happen, and then didn't we go back to the studio,
Hmm.
and then we did our part one and part two video so far, and we talked about King Jewelers and we talked about Finks, and both of us almost instantaneously got a text from Jeanette after the video. I think it was after I uploaded it. Was it after I uploaded it, or was it before?
No, it was before. I think
Okay.
we went in at like lunchtime that day, and I think she had texted us both by like 6 or 7 that night.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, wow, hey, thanks, thank you. You know what I mean? And then I guess we did the video, and we talked about Finks and whatever. And then she thanked. I know she sent me a text and thanked me for doing the video and whatever. And to this day, the funny thing is, oh, let's just back up for a second. So I was like, dude, you're gonna get your day date. You're gonna get your day date. You're gonna get your day date. I mean,
Yeah.
so how soon after that visit did you get the call for? It was an OP first, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I got the call for the OP. What that was like third week of October. It was right before Halloween
Yeah.
when you were here. So I basically got the call for the OP 41 silver like 3 weeks later.
Wow.
Right before their like kind of grand opening,
Right.
invite only sort of
Right.
grand opening party, and so I picked that up there, and then basically I want to say like 2 weeks later is when I got the call for the day date.
Isn't that crazy?
Um, yeah, and I think with it being a new AD, they were really just trying to, you know, not flood
They.
them, but they were
Right.
making sure that they were letting their presence be known, and like
Yeah.
you got, especially I think when they're starting out, and your guess is as good as mine, but like I think they try to give them enough that they have some inventory to move, to get the
Perfect
ball
timing,
rolling.
dude. Right. It was.
Hmm.
It was like the perfect storm. Everything aligned the way that it doesn't normally happen that way, does it?
No,
And
no, not
it's
like not like that.
yeah. And then you got your sub after that, right?
I got my sub in March for my birthday
Gotcha.
this year. So, which after getting the OP and the day date back to back, I told Mikey, the sales manager there, or he's my SA, and he's also the assistant manager with
Right.
Jeanette. I just told him, I was like, man, don't call me in like 2 weeks for for a no date. I was like, I
Yeah.
need some recovery time
Yeah. And
and to bond with new people. I don't like to. It's like it's nice to have a minute to like bond with a piece.
Yeah, it's sometimes when you get too many, and it's I've done this knowing that people that watch my videos know that I'm like, I got a new watch, I got a new watch, I got a new watch, and then I find myself going, wait a minute, what did I just do? I just spent, but I get excited, I'm like, I gotta have that, and then you find
Yeah.
yourself not being able to bond with something for a while, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
funny because I bought this Cartier, um, 18
Is
karat.
that,
Have you
oh
seen
yeah.
this?
Yeah, yeah. That's the one you bought off your neighbor, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I've been wearing this thing every freaking day. It's like, and they're rare. They're hard. You can't get these, man.
Yeah.
Cartier don't make it anymore. They make it in rose gold, and you don't see hardly any of them on the secondary. So, but I've been wearing it a lot. But so then you ended up getting a OP for your dad, right? For his
Yeah.
birthday or Father's Day.
For a little combo of both. Um, and also just for dealing with my bullshit for 34 years. um, but yeah, so, you know, I kind of had told them like 6 months out, like, hey, I really would love to make this happen for my dad
Right.
for his birthday or Father's Day or whatever. And yeah, they were able to come through on it. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
awesome. I know you sent me that video of your dad unboxing it. I mean, not a lot of people, go out of their way to buy their dad a Rolex, you know what I mean? Especially, someone like you in the music industry at 34 years old that, I can attest, I know a lot of people in the music industry, I mean, so, as you do too, but that have amassed a lot. And then you see a lot of people that have done a lot and they have hardly anything because they didn't manage their money properly.
yeah,
And, I probably was one of those guys, but I was not, I was at a different level because I was a session guitar player more so than in one band that was just successful. I always looked at myself as before I went off and did the solo stuff, I always felt like I'm just an employee of this person and it can
right.
end any second, right? So you're just getting paid a salary, anytime you're going on the road. And I was always the guy that replaced someone else for the tour, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or do a record with. And I realized that I was giving all that up to become a solo artist, and I did fairly well. I mean, what people don't understand is like, well, I've never heard of you. And it's like, well, I've never heard of you either. Maybe you should get better at your job. But at the
yeah,
same time, the thing is, even if they haven't heard of you, still having like I had a number two most requested song on Comp 92. I still had a record deal. I was in talks with Geffen as a solo artist, and then I signed a major anyway with my other stuff. And people don't realize that, like, even if they haven't heard of you, and you get to that level, I'm trying to say this where I can express it in a way that there's people that play clubs and play top 40, and then there's people that are actually in the industry, right? And there's
mm,
people that have the recording contracts and things like that, and you still make money, you know, but you're just not, you don't have a number one hit single, you know what I mean? And a lot of times when you get money and you're young, you think you're going to make more, so you tend to burn through that money.
yeah,
You're like the most responsible 34-year-old I've ever fucking met, who's ever, I mean, it was refreshing to see that you really have your shit together, and that's really really rare. I mean, you're in
yeah,
Nashville, I'm in LA. Everyone out in LA is just the music industry in LA compared to Nashville is two different things. In Nashville, you and I went out, and everyone that you introduced me to or we met were super cool with me, right? And you'd
yep,
be like, oh, that person wrote this or did this. You go, really? And they're being really cool to me. You're like, hey, man, do you need another cigarette? Cool. Out here, they don't want to introduce you to anybody.
yeah.
You,
It's a
you know how that is.
gatekeeper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the gatekeeper. Oh, I'll just keep you at arm's length. I'm friends with fucking, Axel's brother or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
But when I look at when people that have money how are irresponsible. Anyway, I was really impressed when I came out there and with not only your hospitality but everyone I met out there, and it seemed very genuine and very real. Whereas
yeah,
it's and I really appreciate that, man. Like I really appreciate that. I mean, my stress level went to absolute zero when I was out there, which is really
that
rare for me.
that's awesome. Yeah, like I always say, like, I think Nashville, we're in a kind of a growing pain phase of becoming a larger metropolis city, but
Your
um,
your airport speaks
we're,
for it right there. The
yeah,
airport is
yeah,
like worse than LAX.
it's a shit show. But, I think we're still a small enough town that if you, like, come in trying to swing your dick and, like, you're an asshole, like, word's going to get around pretty quick. And, like,
Yeah.
people are going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to work with that guy, or whoever.
Yeah, I mean, I've I've traveled a lot and I've met a lot of people, and you know the genuine people from the fake people, and you have that radar. You just know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And other places I've been, I know when it's fake. I know it's all okay, whatever. But when I was in Nashville, man, I swear I felt like everyone was genuine. Like the guy who walked up to us in the grocery store. Hey, I like your T-shirt. I like your T-shirt. I'm
Yeah.
so and so, and I did this, and I did this, and did this, and it's not him bragging about how he's done all this fabulous stuff. It was really like he just was wanted to talk and say hi.
Yeah. And then I was like, hey, there's Tom Kiefer from
Yeah,
Cinderella
from
right
fucking
there. And
Cinderella.
you were.
Tom, I know Tom lives out there. And I know it's funny because a lot of the people I know out here, which I don't really associate myself with the music industry at all anymore.
Mm.
I should do a video on it, how you can walk away from a potential $1 million record contract and not give a shit. Because
Yeah.
I've done it twice now. And people go, that's crazy. Why would you ever do that? It's like, that's just how I roll, man. Because it was never about money.
Yeah.
Granted, it's like,
We all need it, but
but it's not
there's
the
that.
end all. And I live in an area full of celebrities, man. And you know what? And I, I grew up in the industry, man. And I've never really been impressed with anybody. You know what I mean? I mean, when I saw Eddie Van Halen once getting gas, I clammed up and I was like, oh my God, it's Eddie Van Halen getting gas. Don't look. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I was in my 20s or whatever. But, through time, you can appreciate what somebody did, I mean, like, I totally appreciate what you've done. I knew your songs. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the band, like, oh my God, KGF, you know what I mean? But I have a lot of respect for anyone who can accomplish something like that and still be genuinely down to earth, genuinely a cool person. And there was no, you never know when you meet someone. They may act cool because they have a show or they're in a band and they're playing that game, but then when it comes to reality, when you actually meet that person, you're kind of like, oh wow, you're a
Yeah.
dick, not you, but
Yeah.
I've
No.
worked, I worked with I'm not gonna, I can't mention the names because that's like, but I worked with some platinum fucking legend, and like comes across like just the nicest guy in the world, and then you when you're in reality with them, it's like, wow, whoa, dude, it's like Jekyll and Hyde, man. It's like,
Yeah.
just shut up
I've
and
been.
play your parts. You know what I mean? It's like, wait, dude, I am shutting up and I am playing my parts. It's
Yeah.
you know
I've been in bands with a dude like that.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And but
It's just like any other relationship. Nobody knows what happens behind closed doors. You know.
exactly, man. At what we can, yeah, there's a lot we can talk about with that. But I'll tell you that even now with Rolex and we're just talking general life stuff, not so much as much about watches, but Jeanette, she still keeps in contact with me, and
Oh yeah, they're great.
she sent me a text the other day, a couple of texts. She asked me to help her out because of her friend that got $4 million in watches stolen. I literally got that list of those watches from every freaking dealer from LA to New York. Not every, but a lot. You know, I was calling gray market. I will do anything in my means if Jeanette asked me to do something, because she's so down to earth. It's not. She was not put on this planet to play games. You know what I mean? And I don't think Mikey is either when it comes to the Rolex and things. You know what I mean? Because some
No,
of these
no.
ADs and what you went through at the Diamond Place, Everyone loves the fact that dude, you lucked out with your 80. You lucked out with your 80. You lucked out with your 80. I'm like, yeah, just wait. But having said that, is there now you've got a bunch of Rolex. You've got like I would say you've got the perfect Rolex collection. But what you don't have
It's
is
the one we all want.
is not the one we all want, but also, some other brands. So what are some other brands you might be looking at?
Um, Man, I mean, obviously, I really want a Zenith, which I think we've talked about that. I would love to get the Pilot. Um, I would
Dude,
love to add. I would love to add a Santos, just the regular one. Yeah,
yeah.
that's badass. Um,
When you texted me the other morning on that dual time, I was like, no, no.
yeah, no, I was like, this looks awesome. You were like, yeah, I don't get it. It's got a shit movement in it. Let's see what else. I mean, I love GP Gerard
I was gonna say,
Perigo.
I know you had a thing for the Laureato, right?
Yeah, the I was in Vegas a few months back for a thing, and they had we got like a special presentation with GP, and I got to try on the Bucherer special edition Chrono,
Yeah,
and man, got so close to pulling the trigger on that. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so GP, Zenith, love to get a Cartier, um, Glashütte, you know, um,
The
really into like the
Geo,
C.
which do you know which Geo you like?
What?
The Glashütte original.
The CQ, the CQ.
Okay.
I'm not exact sure of all their model specs, but the
The
one that kind
pan,
of is
the
on
it's yeah,
the one
it's
that's on
the
that Katora band. You
okay.
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, um. Oh, and I also in Vegas, I tried on the rose gold version of that one, which was pretty dope.
Oh, dude. Does that have
Yeah.
the white dial and the offset sub dials? Big date.
This one was a black dial. Uh,
Does it have a big date? Is it the Panalunar? Do you know?
no, it wasn't that one. Although that does make me think. I'm also a huge Panerai fan, and like
Oh, okay.
that's another brand that I've gotten probably been in a boutique 3 times and gotten really close to pulling the trigger on a Panerai and then just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Usually because I had something else that I knew was coming. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I was trying to just like keep money set aside for that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I love them all. You know what I mean? Like, I think Alpinas are cool. You know, it's not about the
Alpinas,
money.
like those are Frederick Constant. Alpinas are owned by Frederick Constant.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that. But
Yeah.
I think they make cool
They're
stuff, and
Frederick Constant owns Alpina, which I believe also is owned by the Citizen Group.
okay,
Yeah. So it's but Alpinas are good, for the rugged sort of beater watch, and
yeah,
they're
thousand
inexpensive.
bucks, like
Yeah,
$1,000,
inexpensive.
and
And Frederick Constant, I've owned several of them. They have the Patek Philippe sort of Calatrava look or Vacheron Constantin patrimony look, and they're a fraction of the. I mean, they're so cheap, but they're so well made, and they've done so much in making their own movements, but they kind of shot themselves in the foot because they were making like tourbillons with fucking gold plated watches.
yeah,
Gold, like, dude, you're charging $8,000 for a gold plated watch. You can't do that. Well, they did, but that was several years ago. I don't know what they're really up to now, but they've got some great, great. They've got a lot of in-house calibers too.
yeah,
Great little dress watch, man.
yeah. So eventually, yeah, a dress watch would be something. Although with like the Tennessee summers and how humid it is here, like you definitely got to get a rubber strap for that kind of thing. And
Zodiac.
yeah, I mean, I think
I,
Zodiacs are cool. I love that one that you got. You know, like
yeah, at
um,
King's. Yeah, it's a nice
yep.
watch, but you know what? This right here, the is I don't. Not only have I bonded with it, I mean, I've had this watch for what, a year and a half now. I mean, this is a newer one, you know, obviously because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
traded it out. But this is this watch has not once been in my watch box because I wear it so much.
yeah,
It's always on the stand and it's always wound. I've never had to. It's never stopped where I have to rewind it because it's always either on my wrist or on, you know. And if I wear something else, then you know I'm always wearing this, you know. And it's a
yeah,
strap freaking monster, dude. You can put so many different color straps on this watch and it works, dude. You know.
yeah. I love that thing. It's so
But
comfortable and just
it's comfortable, but it's great in the summertime, dude, when it is hot. You know, when you get that puddle underneath your wrist because it's all sweaty and shitty.
oh
I mean, you
yeah,
still get that, but the watch is still way more comfortable. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
but
It breathes a little bit.
yeah, you know, so that's it. But cool, dude. I mean, I think that's about all we needed to cover at 40 minutes now. Is there
Yeah,
anything else you
sweet.
wanted to talk about?
Uh, Not that I can think of.
Awesome. Well, we'd be
Um,
talking anyway, man. I love
yeah,
having you on my show, and I'm so glad we got to do it the first time. And I'm so glad, and I'm hoping this one turns out because last time we did about 45 minutes and it didn't turn out at all. So,
yeah. I mean, from what it looks like on my end, I think we're good.
okay, so let's do this. We're gonna end the video.